Hey, what's going on, guys? Killer6 back with my level 57 Zane build. Finally, right? Finally. Well, I had to get some gear, man. Luckily, I've got some awesome subscribers, so for pieces of gear that I didn't find on my own, I was able to ask around and get some help. So first, we'll go through the basic gear that I generally use on this build, and then I'll dive into the skill tree. First up, we got the little Yeetie. This is your Maggie replacement. Now, that said, I am also including my Maggie with this. As you can see, the Yeetie has higher damage. It's pretty considerably higher damage, but the Maggie, you do get a better mag size, better fire rate. It's probably the safer all-around option because the little Yeetie does shoot a little bit slow. Also including with this, my lob. If you've seen my video where I destroy the Wendigo, this is the thing I was using for that. I've got a unseen threat. This was sent to me by my buddy Zifnab. This thing is amazing. It's just crazy good damage. I actually prefer it over the Skull Masher, but I'm including the Skull Masher here too. And the Skull Masher has been one of my favorite guns in every Borderlands game. Maybe it'll grow on me, but right now I'm preferring the unseen threat. Also, we got this monster right here, the Radiation Anarchy. This one's only a ×12, but it's very good. Also including with this a ×18 fire one. While filming this, I actually had this just drop randomly from a badass, this Poison Polybius. So if you feel like using some Polybius, it's kind of a fun gun. It's not that powerful, but it's something different. Also, we got the Flammadiddle. This is a brand new item. We got a Hydra Frost, brand new gun. Soul Render, brand new gun. A Nothingness, brand new gun. Stark SF Force, brand new gun. Got the old classics like the Redistributor. This thing will carry you through the takedown easy peasy. Like I showed you before, we got the Skull Masher. I got this Old Ridian. I actually got this to drop from Tom and Zam at Heart's Desire. Old Ridian, in case you guys don't know, is a random world drop in the DLC. So pretty lucky to have gotten that. And that one's with Radiation, with bonus Cryo Sentinel damage again. Most of my stuff is going to have that. Now, my Cutsman, I have not yet gone through the pain and struggle of farming perfect ones of these yet. My Corrosive one is pretty much perfect. But my other ones, the Shock one and my Fire one, are not really perfect. So if you got a better one, feel free to replace those on this build. I just have not lucked out and got one yet. We do have this Krakatoa. This is possibly one of the best, pure get some damage in there kind of snipers in the game. So that one's always fun to use. Now, granted, that one's always fire only. So that's where you would get the use out of the unseen threat in there. Also, what else do we got here? We have Clairvoyance. This thing is really fun, man. This thing applies stickies when you hit crits, so that's really good. Got the Love Drill. This is a brand new pistol in the second DLC. We got our Decaying Star Helix. This one's Radiation with the bonus Cryo. Got a Mutant. Got a Dictator. This thing's great for Wotan's better half, the top half that flies around. You swap to this, put it in bipod mode, melt him down. Then we got the Lob and Shock, and of course you saw the Lob that I have over here in Radiation. We're including a Long Odds Conductor. I'm not a huge fan of this class mod. I'm sure that there's going to be somebody that comes out with a build at some point that's like, yeah, this mod is great. But for me, it's hard to replace the Sea and Dead, so I'm including two other Sea and Dead class mods with this build. So my main Sea and Dead is +3 to Donnybrook and +2 to the extra shots there. It has weapon critical damage, weapon mag size, and pistol damage. The other ones have 51% doll weapon critical damage. This would be if you're swapping to the Star Helix or the Soul Render or something like that. It also has Hyperion weapon reload speed, which would be good for your Redistributor. And then my other one has pistol damage, Jacob's weapon critical damage, and sniper rifle damage. If you want to do some sniping, swap to this one. It's freaking lethal. So yeah. In terms of the shields, I generally now rock the Transformer shield on my Zane just to have that the bullet absorption. That said, I do still keep a Band of Sitarak handy. I've covered the Band of Sitarak in the past. I'm not going to go over all that again. The Old God here, this is a brand new shield. The version 0.m, this is the one that you can get from Wotan or the Valkyries. This one's really fun because your first shot's going to do some serious damage. And then we've got a Void Rift. This is new from the DLC as well. This one basically combines 3 shields into one: the Impaler, the Black Hole, and just a Nova shield in general. So this is a lot of fun, man. If you want to mess around with this thing, I was about to say, instead of Nova shield, the third shield that this combines is kind of like the antagonist from Borderlands 2, because this thing fires homing spikes to attackers when you take bullet damage. So it kind of works a little bit like the antagonist, but not quite as good. But this is actually a really good shield on Zane right now as well. Because and the reason why this one's good is with Zane, you want to try and keep your shield maxed out like a lot. And you know, generally you're going to be inside your barrier, so you don't have to worry about that too much. But when you're not, it's kind of nice to be able to get your shield back really quick. So even without action skills up, as you can see, you can do some pretty good damage with this. But when you throw down your action skills, it's going to get even crazier. So let's do that, and we'll take down our buddy in here, Trant. All right, so we're going to go in and hit him with some lob, because why not? Let's see what our modifiers are. I don't even know what the modifiers are. When I do Mayhem 4 on Zane, I don't even care. I just load in and kill stuff. All right, we got sniper rifle bonus damage and enemy weapons more accurate. So clearly that doesn't... Oops, I didn't mean to drop my barrier. Okay, whoops, there we go. Got it back. But yeah. So with this build, you can do cool things like this to poor little old Trant. He never has a chance. If I had better aim, this would be over a lot quicker, but you know, that's how it goes when you're a controller pleb like myself. But there you go. Easy peasy kill on Trant. This build is capable of doing way more than that. That's, you know, probably not the best example of what this build can do. Hey, here's a brainstormer. You know what? I'll include that with the build. Why not? I didn't have one handy on this build, so now we do. Okay, so that's a bonus piece of gear that we'll include on this build. All right, what else can this build do? Obviously, this build can do the takedown. I tell you what, I'm just going to go ahead and splice in some footage of me doing all the other things that I am capable of doing with this build at this point. And while we're doing that, I want to talk about the skill tree, because I know a lot of people will have questions about the skill tree. K6, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? What makes this so much better than that thing? All that good stuff. So there will be a link down in the description of this video. I had trouble talking there, showing the skill trees, so that you can just click on that and it's a picture of the skill trees. It has the skills circled that I use in terms of the capstone, or not the capstone, but the main skill and the augments. But all the other skills are actually like indicated as they are. Basically, the sentinel tree is your main tree for this build. While your sentinel's out, you're getting all kinds of crazy bonus cryo damage. Now, obviously, that's not going to help you versus cryo enemies, but most of the weapons that I've included with this work really well, even without the cryo damage. But having the cryo damage is even better. So we're doing some violent speed, some violent momentum, salvation, drone delivery. This lets our drone drop grenades on people, and with the build, as you can see, I include a It's Piss grenade. Now the piss grenade, this one, whenever you drop this or whenever you hit an enemy with this, they take 20% increased damage for 6 seconds. This is great when you're doing bosses or any kind of like mobs where they're like all grouped up. Otherwise, I've also got a recurring hex that I'm including with this build. The recurring hex, I would say, is best for your mobbing, your general usage situations, but for bosses, you would want to swap over to the piss. In terms of the other artifacts that I'm going to go over these real quick, then we'll jump back to the skill tree. The Snowdrift Victory Rush is like my main one. You get movement speed, mag size, shield regen. This one, whenever you kill a badass, you trigger Victory Rush, which gives you an extra 18% movement speed and damage for 60 seconds, which is crazy good with Zane. The faster Zane moves, the more damage he does. Also got this Auto Idle. This one is bonus damage and bonus cryo efficiency, plus it restores 20% of your max health after killing an enemy. If you're in situations where you're constantly needing to regen health, this is really good for that. This one also has a bonus 33% cryo efficiency and mag size, and it also gives you some shield recharge. In addition, I'm including 2 of the new artifacts, the Lunacy and the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge. Now, this Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge is stupid good. Basically, it gives you stack damage increase, but it's multiplicative. So once you've stacked, it says that you can stack 15 times. Ultimately, you end up with about, I think it's what, 150 something plus bonus damage percent on top of your other damages. Plus this one has fire rate and max health increases as well. This is really good. Like if you find that you don't need to bother with the speed stuff of the Snowdrift, then, you know, mess around with this Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge. This thing would be really good for bossing as well. and then the Lunacy. Now, if you're using, say you're using the Band of Sidorak, and as you can see, the Band of Sidorak puts my shield at 2,348. That's with my Guardian rank stuff and all that good stuff. If you are having issues keeping that shield up, you can swap to the Lunacy, and that's going to double your shield. Puts it up to 4,470. So, you know, it's still going to get one-shotted if you care about that. All right, so back to the skill tree. All right, so also we've got Cool Hand. This gives you the reload speed, which is crucial if you're doing Redistributor especially. Even really good for the Lob and Maggie. It's just great in general. We're doing Salvation, so we get some life steal just in case some damage gets through our barrier. We got Death Follows Close. This one basically buffs like all of your kill skills. I find that I don't need these to be any higher than where they are right now. I do 2 points into Good Misfortune. This combined with the See Undead class mod is what keeps my action skills up at all times. In terms of the augments for this tree, I use Winter's Drone. This one swaps your Sentinel's primary weapons to Cryo, which helps you proc some other things that I'll show you here in a second. And I use Bad Dose. Now this one is good with Zane because for every weakened enemy, you get increased movement speed and fire rate. And they have decreased movement speed and decreased attack speed. So it's just really good for Zane, especially when you factor in violent momentum and violent speed. All right, now in terms of the things that Winter's Drone and all this cryo stuff helps with, let's move over to our green tree. So up top we got Ready for Action. In case your shields get busted down, boom, this thing zips it right back up to full. We've got, also we're using the barrier in case you didn't notice that. We also got Brain Freeze. Whenever you get a critical hit on an enemy, there's a chance that they're going to be slowed, and this stacks until they're frozen. It's just, you're going to freeze like every general mob out there. Finally, in this tree, we use Confident Competence. Whenever your shields are active, you gain increased gun damage and accuracy. That is just bonus damage, bonus accuracy. Makes all your guns laser beams. It's just really good. In terms of the augments that we use on the barrier, I use Charged Relay. Now this one, your barrier has to be on the ground. You can't be carrying your barrier. So you throw your barrier on the ground, you move away from it, and for 8 seconds after moving away from your barrier, which means you can pick it back up at that point, move away from it, pick it back up, you're going to get reload speed and movement speed. That's just extra movement speed on top of all the other movement speeds. And then I use the all-rounder. This puts a dome all around you, so on all 360 degrees of you, you are protected. Now if enemies hit the ground with some elemental damage, that is going to hit you. Not much you can do about that, but otherwise, for the most part, you're protected inside of this barrier. Now, one thing to note, flat-off launchers are getting through this barrier right now. I don't know why. It was something that they weren't getting through previously, but they are getting back through it again. So just something to make note of in case you are having issues with that. That is especially noticeable in the Slaughter Shaft. All right, our final skill tree here is possibly one of the best for your damage. You've got Synchronicity and you've got Donnybrook. Now, there's also one more skill down there. We're going to cover that in a second. Synchronicity, whenever one or more of Zane's action skills are active, you gain increased gun damage. So with See Undead, you can keep both of your action skills up pretty much non-stop. That means 40% extra gun damage at all times, basically. And on top of that, whenever you kill an enemy, you and your Digiclone will, and again, this is your kill skill procs by just damaging enemies while you have Seeing Dead. So this means that all the time you're getting an extra 36%, but guess what? It stacks twice. So that's an extra 72% gun damage right there for 15 seconds. Then you damage an enemy, boom, it's back again. Wow. And on top of that, just in case that wasn't enough, in case your action skill does go down somehow, some way, you've got plus 5 points here into Borrowed Time, which means you're going to get your action skill back lickety split if it does go down. And then finally, the thing that is the most improved part of having these bonus points for Zane, all the other stuff is basically the same as what our old build was. Almost exactly. But having 3 out of 3 in Supersonic Man is so damn good. Whenever one or more of Zane's action skills are active, you gain increased movement speed for each active action skill. And like I said, you almost always have 2 action skills up at the same time. That is 24% extra movement speed. You combine that with the gun damage you get for moving fast. You combine that with bonus movement speed here, bonus movement speed here. You're gonna murder everything, dude. Everything's dead. Like, you just load into a zone and everything just dies, and they're like, screw this noise. They're like, screw this noise. So yeah, that's the build. That's the skill tree. That's everything you need to know basically about this Zane. Swap your shields and your artifacts, your class mods as you need to, depending on the situation you're in. I've been spending about 5 hours a day off stream farming stuff to make this build, so I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope this video was helpful to you guys. If it was, hitting that like button means the world to me. It would help out a lot. If you're on console, I'm sorry, there is no way to download this save file. If you're on PC, you can download the save file. Just make sure it does not overwrite any of your other save files down there. I tried to make the save file number very distinct so it wouldn't, but if it does say that you're overwriting your save file, make sure you say no and change the file name. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.